Hi, my name is Robert Wagner, and I am running for the 15th Congressional District of Ohio as the true Ronald Reagan conservative, and this is my position on immigration.
In fact, most of the debate centered on illegal immigration and U.S. border security efforts.
Why build a wall there in the name of national security on the Mexican border and not on the border with Canada?
Well, we should certainly do a better job patrolling the borders in Canada. In fact, a situation in which those who are already here are playing by the rules, are willing to pay a fine and go through a rigorous process should have a pathway to legalization. And
Senator Clinton, the chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Rahm Emanuel, instructed Democrats to avoid immigration issues for fear of losing votes. This was a complete 180-degree turnaround to what he told us in Chicago just 9 months ago. By making a priority in your first 100 days to give undocumented immigrants a path to citizenship.
Senator Clinton, your response, please.
Well, I have been in favor of a path to citizenship for years. I voted for it in the Senate. I have spoken out about it around Iowa and the country in this campaign. And as president, comprehensive immigration reform will be a high priority for me.
I was very disappointed that we were unable to move comprehensive immigration reform forward. And we did have to make it clear to employers that they could not take advantage of undocumented workers, that they had to be held to a higher standard, and that we were going to have a system to do that. Was whether we were going to, number one, have a path to legalization for the more than 12 million who are here already. And that was the cornerstone of the immigration reform that I supported.
Yeah, 30 seconds, Senator.
And I hope that we will get back to that issue.
Hi, my name is Robert Wagner, and I'm running for Ohio's 15th Congressional District. Unlike the Democrats, I believe we need an immigration policy that works for Americans. From what you just heard, the Democrats are willing to undermine America and betray their union base, all for the sake of gaining power. You hear the Democrats talk a lot about change, but we need a change for the better, not just a change. My position is simple. Absolutely no amnesty. We already have an unfunded liability of between $40 and $70 trillion being left to our children. 10 to 12 million new entitlees is certain to push this beyond our tipping point. We need to strengthen and secure our borders. I would propose a NAFTA tax to cover the cost of illegal immigration, and I would challenge the granting of U.S. citizenship to babies born to illegal immigrants. I would support a guest worker program where employers are encouraged to register their current illegal workers. I do not favor criminal actions against employers because if we start throwing employers in jail, both U.S. workers and illegal workers will lose their jobs. I also do not favor the deportation of existing illegal immigrants. Once the worker is registered, they would be required to pay 3 taxes. The first would be a privatized Social Security tax that invests in U.S. corporations, and the account is accessible only when the immigrant returns to their homeland. This is a way to encourage them to return home after their work permit has expired. They would also pay a tax to cover their health care costs and a tax to cover the Border Patrol and administration of the immigration policy. I favor an immigration policy similar to the Canadian point-based system, where critical job skills are given priority. We can no longer afford to have our high-tech corporations leave the United States because they can't find workers here in the United States. We need to bring the best and brightest to our country. We need to have a system that strengthens our society and our culture. The only real long-term solution, however, is to revive the Mexican economy. We don't have a problem on the northern border because the Canadian economy is able to employ all of its people. We need to pressure the Mexican government to reform their foreign investment and land ownership laws. That would allow our agriculture and oil companies to expand into Mexico. We also need to pressure the Mexican government to break up their oil monopoly called Pemex. Mexico is natural resource rich. In fact, they have the world's 15th largest oil reserves. There is no reason the Mexican economy should not be doing better. Believe it or not, Mexico has the world's richest man. Unfortunately, however, he got there through uncompetitive practices and built his wealth on the backs of the Mexican people. We need to pressure Mexico to pass antitrust legislation that'll break up these monopolies and spread the wealth back down to the people. One way the U.S. could help revitalize the Mexican economy would be through a joint venture between the Mexican people and the U.S. oil companies. Recently, Hugo Chavez seized the oil assets of U.S. corporations ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips. We could return the favor and use the Citgo stations, Venezuelan-owned Citgo stations throughout America, as reparations for Hugo Chavez's actions. We could then form a corporation that would be partially owned by the people of Mexico and partially owned by the U.S. oil corporations. It would also provide a vehicle for Mexico to distribute their oil throughout America. Dividends and ownership would be transferred directly to the people of Mexico. It also would give a reason for many of the illegal immigrants to return home. They can only receive the dividends and ownership if they are in their home country. So that is one way America could help revitalize the Mexican economy and help repay our U.S. oil companies that had their assets seized by Hugo Chavez. America's immigration policies should be to stop the importation of poverty and start the exportation of prosperity. Both America and Mexico win with a strong Mexican economy. After all, that is the only real long-term solution. Thank you for listening. Once again, my name is Robert Wagner, and I'm running for Congress in Ohio's 15th Congressional District. You know where I stand. Do you know where the other candidates stand?